Have you noticed how the LA fires always seem to hit specific areas?
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I do not believe that this much fire in the past week is a natural cause or climate change or anything like that. You know what California is known for? For the most expensive houses in the United States. The area that's burning right now, it is on average of $3.5 million. $3.5 million. And guess what? This fire is the best solution for what? The best solution for cheap land, cheap houses for people to buy.
Here's a wild theory. Some people believe it's not just nature at work. What if certain locations are being cleared for new high-tech developments or secret projects? Think about it. Prime real estate suddenly becomes cheaper after a fire. Some even claim satellite technology could be used to start pinpointed fires. Could this be a modern land grab disguised as a natural disaster?
I've noticed something a bit strange about these LA fires everyone's been tagging me. The first weird thing that I noticed is that insurance companies dropped fire coverage 3 months before the fire started. And many people have reported electrical wires from the power grid causing these fires. And of course, the water supply has been cut off. And don't you think it's a bit weird in this picture that all of the trees stay standing but the houses aren't? Of course, this is for educational purposes only, and I'm not claiming anything. And then we go to Google and type in 2028 Smart LA City. What a coincidence they want to build a smart city in LA. And of course, it's a lot easier to build a whole city if there's no buildings there. Of course, this is just for educational purposes only, and I hope everyone is safe over there. Thank you.
Due to current events, I figured now would be a great time to tell you guys all about Smart LA 2028. Smart LA 2028 was a plan released in 2019 to redefine and restructure Los Angeles in time for the 2028 Olympics. Smart LA 2028 has many key points, one primarily being the transportation infrastructure to go for a car-free Olympics. Don't just take it from me, however, take it from Ted Ross, the Chief Information Officer of LA.
As a 3-time United States Digital City Award winner, the City of Los Angeles has been investing in the infrastructure, the apps, and the data tools to be a globally recognized smart city. But as technology evolves, so our smart city must evolve too. That's why we have developed our Los Angeles Smart City Strategy, known as Smart LA 2028. Check it out here.
Key points that they're looking to improve are infrastructure and community engagement, which may be hard since there's no community anymore. Some constraints on this project are funding and budget constraints because infrastructure is very important and very expensive. And piggybacking off that, another hurdle is the aging infrastructure. Much of LA's infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and utility grids, were built decades ago and requires significant upgrades or replacement. They're going to have to replace a lot now. With that comes retrofitting challenges. Adapting existing systems to modern standards is often more complicated and costly than building new infrastructure. How about that? It would be cheaper for them to just build new infrastructure instead of repair and fix the old. Traffic congestion. A lot of people living in LA means a lot of traffic. I guess it's kind of weird that a lot of people won't be living in LA now. Environmental concerns, because a lot of residents mean high carbon emissions from cars and high water usage, which we know LA is already struggling with the water usage because the firefighters said that there's no water to put out the fires right now. The hydrants are running dry. And as we know, wildfires are a big environmental concern. Regulatory and bureaucratic hurdles are a big concern as well because, you know, it's going to be hard getting things approved when there's so many people living and working in LA. And stakeholder coordination. But I guess it's really not going to be that hard to convince people to fix a city that no longer exists. You're just building from the ground up, right? It's hard to get equity and public support because of gentrification concerns. Infrastructure improvements can lead to displacement in lower income communities, creating opposition to certain projects. But I guess there's not going to be much opposition now. And the digital divide. Technological integration, because integrating smart sensors to existing infrastructure is very complex. But again, I guess there's now not much infrastructure to have to work with. And public transit challenges, because with everybody living in LA, converting everybody to public transit was an uphill battle. And project timelines were under constraints because so many people live and work in LA. I guess it's lived and worked in LA. Now that you mentioned it, I'm actually pretty sure that Lahaina was going through the same thing and faced the same issues, right? What a coincidence.
So basically, this is going to be the big land grab in California history. It's so overcrowded in Los Angeles that for the last few years, they've been putting homeless people on buses and shipping them out hours away to surrounding counties. It's still not enough. All the new major tech, entertainment, and social media companies want their headquarters in Los Angeles around all the content creators, all the entertainers, celebrities, where everything is trendy. If you think these people who are homeless, losing their homes and businesses, is about to go back to that land and just rebuild and start their lives over, you're tripping. You don't know how it works. These insurance companies that are dropping them, they're successful because they do the same thing all big businesses do. That's one major company own multiple companies that own companies that own companies. So if they ever mess a bunch of people over or get into trouble, you only can sue that one company, not the major company. They'll just file for bankruptcy and you won't affect the CEO's money or none of that. But back on track to this land grab. They're going to start offering people checks, reminding them that they can just go get a new house, new car, and new furniture instead of waiting 5 to 7 years to go to court with these insurance companies to try to get them to pay you out for dropping you during hard times in a natural disaster. You think they're not going to take that check? Don't be silly. This is a land grab, and it's just happening right here in front of our eyes. I'll be the first to tell you this.
Together this incredible animation that shows the timeline of how this fire advanced through the communities of Pacific Palisades and Malibu. Here it is, January 7th at 6:17. It was at 2,900 acres. And then on January 8th, that explosion to 15,000 acres. And then the next day, 17,000 acres as it progressed into the mountains. And then on the 9th, 19,000 acres. And you can see how far it had gotten into Malibu. And then we come to yesterday at 20,000 acres. And you can see 20 and then to 21,000 acres. But you see how far across it spread, and all the way up to the 11th, which is today at 22,660 acres. This is just information from 7:30 a.m. today.
This is literally the end of Los Angeles, California. This like feels so much bigger than what it is right now. Like the fact that now that it's in Hollywood, it's in the Hollywood Hills. Runyon Canyon, historic Runyon Canyon is on fire is like breaking my heart to pieces. But also it's like, this is like all of LA. Like it is going down. And wow. Like it feels like bigger. Like, I don't know. I know there's a lot of conspiracies and I'm not saying that it's like, I mean like bigger, like the universe. Like it's almost like it feels like God is angry and this is like all the dark versus the light, and all the dark that is Hollywood is like just being taken down. Like Diddy went down this year. Like it just feels like the energy. It's like we're not making any progress here. This is like bigger. Does anyone else feel that? Like it's very disheartening. Like this feels, I like said it kind of joking yesterday, like, oh, this is like the apocalypse, the end of it. But like, it literally feels like it. Like, I don't even know what to say. I'm just like in shock right now. I'm just like watching my city burn down. And it's still 0% contained. And I have just packed up my car. So now I'm leaving. I don't know where I'm going yet, but we're going to figure it out. But like, this is heavy. This is heavy. This is big. Because it feels like no one wants us to win. Like no one wants us to win. You know? It's like everything is against us right now. And I said it last night. It's like, we're LA. We should be able to handle this. And we're not. And in fact, when we just kind of start to a little bit, a fire breaks out somewhere else. Like the world is against us. God is angry. The universe is against us. Like I feel that so heavy, and I want to know if anyone else feels it. And my heart is just like breaking right now. Breaking. Like this is the end. Like this feels like the end. I'm being very dramatic, but like, do you know? Like you feel it too. Like this is crazy. My heart.
Is this or will it be the worst natural disaster in the history of the United States?
I think it will be in terms of just the costs associated with it.
In terms of the scale and scope, I'll only remind the folks in California, we had the Tubbs fire, 5,600 houses were lost, and of course Camp Fire, we had 18,000 housing units lost, and 85 people that lost their lives. Currently, we're getting confirmation from the coroner, so we always have to be careful on the death toll, but it's in the 13 range, and I've got search and rescue teams out, we've got cadaver dogs out, and there's likely to be a lot.
2 days later, the LA fires. The Department of Justice just released a 186-page report detailing how systemic and calculated the Tulsa massacre was that we have been taught all of our lives for the past 104 years since it happened, that it was just the mob violence, that it was just angry attackers, angry rioters. And we're finally finding out that no, this was actually very systemic and very calculated, to the point where they have police deputizing people within 30 minutes. I'm just saying everything was extremely calculated, and in these LA fires, how unprecedented they are and how widespread they were, and how in the midst of that fire, one of the historically black neighborhoods was burned to a crisp. I'm gonna just say this, and y'all can call.
Okay, so does anyone else think it's weird that, like, the fires are completely surrounding the valley? Like, that's where we are. But, like, we're completely surrounded by fires. Like, if these did spread bigger, like, how would we get out? Where would we go? We are not being told to evacuate as of yet, but it's like, should we go? It's also just a weird coincidence that, like, the entire valley is surrounded. Like,
on today's episode of That's Grits, we got Los Angeles wildfires. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I want to know, where the hell are wildfires coming from? Just look at some of these images. These look like straight out of a movie, but these are real. You're telling me we can send billions of dollars to Ukraine to fight a war, but we don't have the resources to stop a wildfire before it burns down an entire part of a city? And we've been dealing with wildfires for a long time, especially in the state of California and places like Canada and all that stuff. PS5 is about to release technology that can make you smell what's in the game, but we haven't invented something to stop wildfires. There's no way. I know I'm ignorant. I'm being ignorant to something. I know, the winds, it's hard to control all that extra shit, but there's no way we haven't invented something that can stop a wildfire before it gets this bad. You can't convince me. This has to be some shit where they're trying to burn down a whole city and claim the land, like reclaim land, bro. You can't convince me, bro. We have too much technology for us not to be able to stop a wildfire from getting like this. Bro, we have the capabilities of building atomic weapons that can take down an entire country with a press of a button, but we can't stop wildfires. Yeah, that's cap. That's grits. You can't convince. Prayers up to everybody in LA and everybody that's been affected.